Hey friends, BEAU RIALS here. Over the years, I've traveled throughout the USA, literally to every state. I love to travel, and I love my country. So these days, I'm hitting the road to honor and celebrate this great place that we call home. This is American Destinations.
Isn't this just beautiful? Here we are in Chicago, folks. In fact, this is one of my favorite beaches in the world. This is Oak Street Beach. So many cool things about Chicago, but this has got to be one of the coolest. I mean, you could be in one of these high rises like Big John Hancock back there, and in a matter of minutes, you're down here soaking up the sun and the sand at Oak Street Beach. Let's see more of Chicago right now. Chicago truly is a city that has it all. From premier museums that feature everything from diverse culture and global art to amazing relics of the past, such as dinosaurs and even a captured German U-boat from those harrowing years of World War II. Chicago boasts a vibrant community of world-class events and non-stop entertainment all year round. So no matter what time of the year you visit, I'll guarantee you'll experience the best that Chicago has to offer. But for me, Chicago is a very special town, and it will always, until the end of my life, have a very special place in my heart. Chicago means the place where my career got legitimized 30 something years ago. Yeah, I came up here. It took me 9 interviews to get hired at a station called WCKG here in Chicago. They bonged me 8 times. Ninth time was the charm. And I got a year and a half out of it before I got fired, for the same reason I always get fired. Blatant insubordination. But I had a great time in this city. It's a city like no other. And while I certainly feel blessed to have started my career here in Chicago, believe it or not, there was a time when this great Midwest metropolis almost ceased to be. Around the mid-1800s, Chicago was literally the fastest growing city in the world. But the Great Chicago Fire of 1871 nearly wiped it off the map. This is the actual spot where in 1871 the Great Chicago Fire was started, allegedly when Miss O'Leary's cow kicked over a lantern and the fire ensued. Now, the city has built itself into one of the most magnificent cities in the world since then. But the most ironic part about this whole thing is the very spot where the fire started is now home to the Chicago Fire Academy. There's no doubt the Great Chicago Fire was devastating. Fortunately, 2 years before the fire, Chicago had built a special water tower, just in case. Right there is the water tower, right on Michigan Avenue in downtown Chicago. Now the water tower is exactly what it is. It's actually pumping water out. During the Great Fire, the Chicago Fire, that water tower saved parts of downtown. Like so many disasters throughout America's history, the city and its people not only survived, but thrived. In fact, city engineers were so good at redesigning and rebuilding after the Great Fire that they continued to solve incredibly difficult problems using some very innovative solutions that are still in place today. Now, this is a great example of how Chicago works. This river right here used to run from the west to the east, which meant the water flowed out into Lake Michigan, which is where Chicago gets its drinking water from. Well, that didn't work out when there was a lot of pollution flowing into your drinking water. So what did Chicago do? They reversed the flow of the river. So for a long, long time now, the Chicago River has flown from Lake Michigan in the east out west. That's how Chicago works. Today, downtown Chicago is a thing of beauty.
The amazing skyline of high-rise buildings literally pierce right into the sky each and every day. And best of all, you don't have to go too far to enjoy the best of what the Windy City has to offer. You can take a leisurely boat ride on the river, spend some quality time at the Shed Aquarium, visit the famous Lincoln Park Zoo, hang out at popular Navy Pier, which these days is more of an entertainment venue than an actual pier. Enjoy a nice ride down Lakeshore Drive adjacent to Lake Michigan, or just take a nice casual stroll through Millennium Park and check out the Bean.
Yes, behind me is Cloud Gate, also known here in Chicago as the Bean. Why? Because it's shaped like a bean, and it also makes a great sombrero.
Now, if it's sports you love, then as Frank Sinatra says, Chicago is your kind of town.
Well, the sign says it all. Behind me is home of the Cubs, legendary Wrigley Field here on the north side of Chicago. For over 100 years, the Cubs have been playing baseball in the friendly confines right here. But for many, many years, the curse was on. Finally, in 2016, the curse of the GOAT was lifted. Praise the GOAT.
When I think of baseball, I think of hot dogs, right? Well, in this town, you're at the birthplace of the world-famous Chicago dog. Now, what is a Chicago dog, you ask? Well, it's an all-beef Frankfurter wrapped in a steamed bun, topped with mustard, relish, and raw onions, sprinkled with celery salt, and then, as they say, you run it through the garden. Wow. Now, let me tell you, folks, that is a Chicago dog. Speaking of food, Chicago is a town of taste sensations, offering just about everything you can imagine, from world-class steaks to specialty desserts and cakes, and everything in between. And while New Yorkers may claim to have the best slices of pie anywhere, Chicagoans would tend to disagree with them, as they claim the best pizza pie in the world is truly a Chicago deep dish pizza. I'm talking multiple layers of melted cheese, sauce, meat, veggies, and whatever else you want on it, all crammed inside a super thick butter crust bottom. And one of the most popular sites for authentic deep dish in Chicago is Lou Malnati's. Now, once you've tried just a bite of deep dish pie at Malnati's, I promise you'll be hooked forever. Remember earlier I told you about the curse of the Cubs? Well, the underground location of the original Billy Goat Tavern is literally where the curse started. Now, the story goes like this. Way back in 1945, tavern owner William Cyanis used to bring his favorite pet goat to the Cub games. Now, the goat was left tied up outside Wrigley Field while Cyanis enjoyed the game inside the friendly confines. Well, apparently, some fans complained about being, quote, bothered by the goat. So the owners of the team decided to ban Cyanis and his Billy Goat from attending all future games. Well, being a die-hard Cubs fan, that upset Cyanis so much that he told the Cubs that while he and his Billy Goat were banned, they would never win another World Series again. And for many years, the curse appeared to be working. That is, until 2016.
A little bouncer slowly toward Bryant. He will glove it and throw to Rizzo. It's in time, and the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
But besides the curse of the goat, there's another great reason why the Billy Goat Tavern has become such a cultural phenomenon.
Billy Goat Tavern is famous for these very, very hilarious Saturday Night Live bits where John Belushi can't even do it. Cheeseburger, 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 cheeseburger.
Cheeseburger, cheeseburger, cheeseburger. No fries, chips, and no Pepsi Coke.